All right. Our team did what needed to be done tonight. Big win from Chicago Bulls tonight. Balanced attack, the bench showing up, big contributions from people we didn't always expect it from. Kobe White having probably one of his best, maybe his best total game since his return. I know he's had bigger scoring nights a couple of times, but 24 points from Kobe White, really engaged on defense as well for anyone watching the game. Nothing that's going to shoot out of the stat sheet as far as the defensive game from Kobe White, but Kobe White had a really good defensive game tonight. And this, again, if this is the version that we can, even 85% of this, right? That turns Kobe White into a really important part of this Bulls bench. But outside of that, this is the biggest game that the Bulls bench has had so far. Considering especially how many people are out still from this team. No Io in this game, no Derrick Jones Jr. from this game. We didn't have Alex Caruso for the most part of this game. Alex Caruso only playing 6 minutes in this game before he got out with the foot injury. This was a good game from the Chicago Bulls, a total attack. And this is what you want to see from a team against playing a team that they are on paper should be much better than. Again, Lonzo showing up as well. 6 for 12 from Lonzo, 4 from 9 from 3-pointers. We finally got to see Lonzo doing a little bit more on the inside, bodying up, taking contact, and still finishing around the rim solidly. Again, total game from our Chicago Bulls, and a good one at that. And this is the type of win that we want to see from our Bulls. Very impressed with what we got from the Bulls tonight. Can't stress enough just how important a win like this is, especially when you consider all the things that the team's still coming back from, everything that we're still overcoming, the fact that we're still not at 100%, fact that Alex Caruso went down at the start of this game, and I fully, I think nothing has been made official yet, but I think that Alex Caruso probably could have came back if this was a closer game, but with the way that the bench was playing, the way that this team was playing tonight, they didn't need it, so they let him sit down. This was a very good game from our Chicago Bulls. Taking just sitting back. If anybody told you that the Bulls would have scored 40 points from the bench in tonight's game, most people would have completely disregarded that as being a possibility, considering how the bench scoring has gone so far. When we talk about how important bench scoring is to a team that's trying to go for a title, Eastern Conference Finals, whatever you talk about, bench scoring is important. Alfonso McKinney, if nothing else, is really turning some heads and maybe has earned himself a roster spot even when everybody's healthy, as far as maybe letting go of Matt Thomas or someone else. When you think about it, this is better than any game Troy Brown Jr. has given us so far this season. And while you don't want to overreact to one game from Alfonso McKinney, he didn't score very good in the last game, but he's still playing active and gave a solid contribution even when his shot wasn't falling. So when you combine these two games, Alfonso McKinney is really working himself into probably having a permanent spot on this roster. Something else that stood out to me as well, Tyler Cook. Listen, I'm not saying that he's ready to be a big time contributor off the bench, right? I'm not saying that call Tyler Cook up, keep him on the roster all the time, but I will say this. If Tyler Cook doesn't start getting some looks when we're facing maybe a bigger team like a Cleveland or something like that has a lot of bigs, a lot of quality bigs, call Tyler Cook up, let him play in those games. Tyler Cook really impressed me with how nimble he is moving out there at his size, right? Tyler Cook is 6'8", 255 pounds. And this is like the first game that I've really gotten to see him. The way that he moves out there, the quickness in which he moves, and like, yes, he's not as polished. He still does need some development, but Tyler Cook really showing solid footwork and movement from a player of his size. Really, I would think that Tyler Cook, if he continues to develop, is going to be able to get some matchup issues, especially on the offensive end, just because of how quick he is. That's one of the things that really surprised me with Tyler Cook tonight, is seeing how quick he was. I did not expect that. Maybe some of you guys expected. I did not. And it made me really open my eyes up to some of the other people who've been saying Tyler Cook should have been getting minutes on this team. Really, really good minutes from Tyler Cook tonight as well. And just seeing him move out there. Vooch, Got a solid game from Vooch again. When Vooch is playing like this, it's hard to beat the Bulls. 8 for 18, not the best shooting percentage overall, but 18 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, and a very active defensive night from Vucevic. He had some lackadaisical plays on defense, but overall very active on defense. When you have a team that can score this way, that everybody's active on defense. One thing that you can say is everybody who got in this game tonight showed some activity on defense, kept their head up, played within the confines of the way that the defensive scheme was up. When things like that happen, wins come. Like I said, even Kobe White being very active on defense and positive. Dotson, the player that we don't see a lot as well, showed some things on both offense and defense. This is that balanced attack that you want to see that makes this team so hard to beat. I'm going to start going to some of you guys' comments. MC season, great win. Guys stepped up, and we got a great look at what McKinney can possibly do for our team. Absolutely. McKinney and Cook are absolutely the standouts for me in this game for sure. Jaquez, Lonzo, come on, man. Lonzo is a coach on the floor out here and is a very important part of this team. Easy dubs. This is you want to see the team get wins like this, right? You want to see them, and this is what I've been saying. They seemingly played down the competition at times. They didn't have that down third quarter, even though it looked like for a minute there they were going to have one of those typical down third quarters. The Bulls won every quarter of this game except for the fourth quarter, and even that they were only outscored by 7 in that quarter. And we kind of understand down the stretch we didn't have our starters in. Bulls played solid throughout this game. That's what you want to see, especially against a team that you're on paper you should beat pretty easily. Listen, I didn't even turn on the Bears game. Bears stressed me out. They're going to turn my beard gray. Didn't even turn it on. Great win. Loved in the second half how every time Houston started to chip away, the Bulls pushed the lead right back to 20. Exactly. That's that balanced attack. That is that every member of this team understanding their role and, contributing. That's basically what it said. Who said bench scoring is an issue? We just needed to unleash the G League. Hey, I mean, this is not against one of the better teams. I know they're probably better than their record, but still, we don't want to get carried away with that. But yeah, this is what having bench scoring, right, can do to change the outlook of a game. When you don't have to have your starters out there to increase the lead, and you can also increase the lead by your bench scoring, not just maintain a lead, but also keep the pressure on to increase the league. It completely changes the outlook of games very easily. Very easily. Kobe had a great night tonight. Like I said, both sides of the ball from Kobe. It was good to see the announcers also acknowledge how Kobe, since he's come back from the shoulder injury, how he's shown more attentiveness on the defensive side. And it's about some time that people recognize that, even when if a shot wasn't falling. But luckily tonight, Kobe as well, putting in a lot of points. I know he started that second half, but still 7 for 15 from Kobe, 5 for 9 from 3-pointers, 5 for 5 from free throws, 24 points off the bench for Kobe White. When you have a player like that that's a threat off the bench, it changes things. It definitely changes things. Now, big question is it wrong to waive Matt Thomas while he's still in protocols? No, but I don't think that's going to happen. We're gonna have to see what goes on there. This was a W that was needed. The bench came through, and that's what I wanted to see exactly. Bench definitely stepped up this game. Their little win string started with us, it will end with us, and they go back to the bums that they are. What? Shout out to Ricky Fontaine on that one for sure, bro. Blah. The thing with McKinney is he get playing time when everyone is back. How much would you really grow sitting in the bench in games? Well, it's thing with that is he doesn't necessarily need to grow. One of the things that the announcers pointed out is how much the Warriors did use him in the finals, right? He has finals experience. So the thing is that you don't necessarily need to grow. That with veterans, you don't look for that. Veterans on the end of your bench, you have those veterans on the end of your bench because when they are called upon, they're ready. They know what needs to be done. They know how to fit a role, and also the advice that they give. So McKinney, while he was in the G League, and I understand that I'm not saying he's going to make or break what happens with this team, when you really look at him and Matt Thomas, you really, you don't have much to evaluate on. But McKinney, if he can shoot the ball like this consistently and play the defense the way that he did, you absolutely have to question if he may be a better fit for the end of your bench over Matt Thomas. Hell, the way that McKinney's playing, you damn near may need to consider if he needs to be getting some type of consistent minutes. Only 29. So that's a conversation. Jonathan Washington Jr. Yet Bulls fans hell bent on trading Kobe. This is why the thing is short-sighted, right? And I had a tweet from the podcast's channel today where I just said I can't wait for the deadline to be over. Not even because I want to see what moves the Bulls make. I'm just tired of these fake fans that in these trade scenarios. I'm ready for all that shit to be over, so then the real fans can just talk basketball. The real people can just talk basketball. That's why I'm excited and ready for this trade deadline to be over in about a month and a half, because I'm over this shit. I'm just ready for it to be over with, so the trade talk can stop and we can focus on just talking about basketball. Relax watch. Tyler Cook, not a household name, but I watched his G League highlights, extremely agile. Look, that's the biggest thing. 6'8, 255 is not small by any means, right? The way in which he moved out there, the quickness, right? That when you have big men that have quick first steps, and that are agile, that is very hard to guard from a lot of bigs in the league. I know we are now in a league where bigs go out on the perimeter much more than what they ever had at probably any point in the NBA. But I'm not even just talking about shooting wise. I'm talking about being able to put the ball on the floor, being able to move quick out there, being able to come off pick and rolls like that. Tyler Cook, what this game has shown me is that it's increased my expectations on Tyler Cook's potential, right? And like I like to always say, potential is not always realized, so it doesn't mean that he's going to hit that potential. But the fact of the matter is that now looking at this, you have to kind of look at him and be like, all right, there's really some potential for him to be an NBA player here. And maybe even with us talking about the Bulls needing a four, right? Again, that's not to say that he's all the way ready, but we'll see. We'll see. We'd like to see Vooch do more of what he did in the first half, destroy the little guy in the post on the switch. That as much as they had Eric Gordon on him in that first half, like they kept switching in on him. It was like, all right, you guys really don't respect Vooch, and if Vooch gets going, y'all gonna regret this very, very much. I have a feeling old Matt Thomas lost the spot. It's very possible, very possible. I mean, Matt Thomas um is still not going to be back by the next game. I don't think so. If McKinney has another game like this during this 10-day contract, it may be an easy decision for the Bulls to make. I hope Kobe's in his groove now, and he was electric tonight. Listen, Kobe, active on defense, active shooting the ball, active moving without the ball. Some great passes from Kobe too, right? As much as we talk about him not being a traditional point guard, had some really good passes, some bounce passes, and just some quick passes that were accurate. This was a good game from Kobe White for sure. Justin Fields just got sacked on 4th and 1, and I hear my dad laughing downstairs. This shit is really pissing me off. Listen, I don't know what to tell you about your dad, man. Like I said before, I think you may have to smack your dad. I think you may have to do that. BKR Sport revenge game for the last embarrassment against Houston. This is what our team should have done in that game too, but unfortunately we weren't experienced enough to get the job done at the time. Yeah, and I think people forget that this is still a team, especially even more so now considering how many pieces we have that are contributing that just haven't been in the rotation. This is a team still figuring it out. Less than 30 games for most of these players played together, and when you factor in like even the people that we have out now, like teams need some time to get it together and figure out how to win and face adversity. So yeah, Shay, I told you Kobe and Vucevic were going to bounce back. You did say that. You did say that. Tony Bradley got Butterfinger. Listen, that one highlight, Tony Bradley almost ruined that highlight completely because they got him that pass and he should have just took it up and dunked it strong. But with that being said, Tony Bradley overall, I don't want to shit on him, overall played a solid game tonight, right? Everybody played a solid game tonight. Everybody seemed locked in and understood what they needed to come in and do. And he was very active. But yeah, that one play almost killed a lot of momentum and almost pissed me off. But I wonder what our record is against the West this season. I'm not sure. I love the offense, but I didn't like the total points Houston scored. I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I mean, yeah, 118 to 133. In reality, that lead should have been a little bit bigger. We know that the Bulls started. They let Houston go on a run there for a couple of seconds, and then even at the end of the game, after the game was decided, we brought in our bench players. Their bench went on a little run there, but overall, they got the win. They got the win handedly. Um, Saying hi to BK Sports. Love from France. What's up? You guys all know that I love my overseas listeners. Thank you for being here for us right after the game. It's 4:30 a.m. Might as well stay the night with you guys. The bench stepped up big tonight. Bench definitely stepped up big tonight. Bulls D got to get better in the paint. I mean, every team has their weakness, right? We're never going to be a perfect team. It does need to get better. Nobody's saying that it doesn't, but we're never going to be a perfect team in that case. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what the Bulls do. Christian Wood in this game, 23 points, 11 rebounds in 29 minutes, 8 for 14, 1 for 3 from 3. definitely hurt us there, but somebody had to score some points for them. The Bulls overall did a really good job tonight. I'm not going to focus on just the negative. So it was reported as a mid foot sprain. I don't really know what that means. I'm not a doctor. We'll, hopefully, it's not anything lingering. I really do think that they saw what happened and was just like, look, we're playing pretty good. Our bench is coming in. We have a big lead. We're going to go ahead and cinch you for the rest of the night. Jonathan Washington Jr. The Rockets really signed Tice to give him no minutes. Well, they did start off the season giving him more. Him and Woods just don't play well together. That's overall that him and Christian Woods don't play very well together. And so because Christian Woods does play so many minutes for this team, it doesn't leave very many opportunities. So they moved on. Unfortunately, even though they do buy him out, we can't re-sign him. So, that's neither here nor there. I would love to have Tice on this team, but hey, there you go. It happens every year. Somebody gets signed and ends up getting no minutes. BKR Sport, good win tonight, Blackhawk, man. Bulls flying, time to slap up the Raptors next. We got to. We got to go on this winning streak. I want to see the Bulls go on a 5, 6, 7 game winning streak. Again, we know we're still not going to have Zach LaVine back. I don't think he's supposed to be back until is that a Pacers game that we play that he should be back? Let me see. Yeah, so we probably have him back at home against Indiana. They're going to be looking to avenge the loss they had to them too. So don't be surprised. Listen, don't be surprised if Wednesday is a trap game. And I necessarily shouldn't say trap game, but don't be surprised if, considering all the energy the Bulls had to expand and everything, if the Bulls come out kind of flat against Toronto. Now they do have 2 days. Well, they have a day in between that game. They're off tomorrow, come back and play Wednesday. But I wouldn't be surprised, and I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, just being honest in how I see it. But overall, Bulls need to win all these games, and I would love to see that. Can we give Billy Donovan some love? He has been coaching his butt off. The thing with making adjustments, if you notice, Billy Donovan is making a lot of adjustments. I've been very keen on talking about Billy Donovan's being slow to make adjustments sometimes and how that's really hurt the team in different periods. But yeah, so he definitely coached his ass off tonight. That's for damn sure. When you look at the ball movement, when you look at the plays that were being run, when you looked at how he used certain people, absolutely he coached his ass off. Absolutely he coaches his ass off. Bulls Nation, BKR so underrated because he isn't from Chicago. Hope you guys can do a video together one day. Hey, I'm down to collab with anyone. So absolutely, I would love to, man. And thank you, BKR Sport, for showing love. Now I think this is your second or third of my live streams being in, so I appreciate it. Tony Bradley hands look Omer Ashik look like a surgeon. Did Ashik have bad hands? I don't remember. I don't remember his hands. I remember he had some games where he was absolutely a killer for us, but I don't remember if it was just the hands were bad. Bulls might as well trade something small for Tyson. He's not. Well, it's not just something small, right? You have to make the salaries match, and I can't remember what his salary is off the top of my head, but it's not something that's easily matchable. Let's look up Daniel Tice's contract real quick to see who on our team would have. So he's on a 4-year, $36 million deal. So yeah, that's not going to be easy to match. I mean, we couldn't even just throw Troy Brown Jr. at them for that. So I don't know if that's going to necessarily happen. Appreciate it, Bulls Nations, but come on, Chicago Bulls Central is legit. Get around them. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Nick, have we heard anything about Caruso left early and I'm scared for again, it's supposed to, what I saw, it is a left midfoot sprain. So don't know a lot. I know foot injuries can be bad, so we'll see with that, but I haven't heard anything. I just can't wait for Stacey King to come back. It's not, listen, I'll tell you what. You don't realize something sometimes until it's gone when it comes to commentary. And Stacey King not being on the commentary team, you definitely feel like it's something that especially when the game's going good and I'm engulfed in the play on the court, I don't necessarily think about it as much. But during down times or whatever else, it's damn, I miss Stacey King. Oh, MC season with some facts. A midfoot sprain can take around 4 to 6 weeks to heal, 3 weeks at the least. Okay, that made my heart drop some. I don't like that. Hopefully we're not without Caruso for that long, man. That would really suck. That would really, really suck. Matthias, Alfonso will be signed for the rest of the season, and Matt Thomas will be released. We'll see. We'll see. You're not the only one who says that and calls for that. BKR Sport. Our next 10 games are all winnable. That early season stretch doesn't come back until we hit the Nets, Celtics, and Warriors in a 3-game turn. Well, I mean, I would love to see the Bulls go on as long as it stretches as they can. Honestly, it's overdue, considering like how much adversity we'd had to face and everything else. I would like just looking at it. So we got Toronto, Indiana, Atlanta, and a home and home. So that's 2 games, one there, one at us. Indiana again, Washington, Orlando, Washington again, Dallas, which key in on that game, Brooklyn on January 12th on ESPN, and then Golden State and Boston, which Boston has been playing the best. That is a favorable stretch, absolutely. And then even in that tough stretch, that Dallas, Brooklyn, Golden State, back to back, we've beaten Dallas, right? We know we can beat Brooklyn. We've beat them twice already. That Golden State, be keen in on that Golden State game because that's the Bulls need to be coming out to prove some things against the best team in the NBA that time. Brandy Nicole, BD Coach of the Year. It may be hard for him to get that, especially when you look at like the season that Golden State's having and that Phoenix is having. It may be hard for him to get that, but he's definitely been really good at coaching so far this season. This was my favorite ball movement from this team this season. The first half was impeccable. Absolutely. Absolutely. Bulls Nation, what do you think of Bulls winning it? I've talked about this heavily. I definitely think the Bulls can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I definitely think that they can win the Eastern Conference Finals as well, depending on who they're matched up against. The Bulls have a fighting chance against anybody in the NBA, but I'm not ready to call them winning it all this year. I'm just not at that point right now. I like Bradley's energy and hustle, man. Those hands should be used to cook eggs better than non-stick cook pans. Listen, if they need to figure out something with Bradley's hands. That needs to be something that they're working on him very heavily with. That and going up harder, right? Because a lot of times there's easy points that he could get, but he just doesn't go up hard either. Now that may be the hands thing getting in his head as well. Him trying to focus on not losing the ball, but they need to work. There's some promising. I've said before, if the Bulls get another 4, right? That can start, has some size, that can play some 5. Having Bradley come in then and have a little bit lesser of a role, I think he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Looking at the schedule, I can see is winning 11 straight. Count the 2 wins, just counting the 2 wins this week. Hey, from your mouth to God's ears for sure. DeMar has been amazing. Where do you rank him in the NBA? I don't like to get into ranks and things, but DeMar is definitely proven that he still has a lot in the tank. He's one of the better scorers in the NBA, one of the better players in the NBA, and he's going to get some MVP votes this year. That's for sure. That's for sure. Do you think DeMar is going to break 40 this season? That's definitely within the realm of possibility, right? Especially while Zach LaVine's out. Look to the game Wednesday against Toronto. I would not be surprised at all if DeMar goes for 40 in that game. Would not be. Love the way this Bulls team played today. They kept the fire going all night. Lonzo, Kobe, Alfonso stepped up big tonight. Definitely, definitely. Kobe, like I said, playing some really probably some of the best defense of Kobe's career in the NBA for sure. This game. Drive home safe, Chicago. Yeah, for sure. I wish we could be watching this Bulls team on Christmas. Man, the fact that we need to have our Christmas game back next season. Absolutely, we need that. Lonzo definitely all-star bound this season. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, and that's not to say he doesn't have the skill. I've talked about this before. Typically, for a non-scoring, non-big scoring point guard to make the all-star team, they have to be averaging double-digit assists. Because of that, and he's not going to get there on this team, considering the other passes that they have. I don't know if Lonzo makes an all-star team this year. I just don't know if he does, but he definitely is going to make an all-star team while he's on this Bulls roster. I just don't know if this year is going to be it. If we get first seed, I can see BD getting coach of the year. I mean, hey, we'll see. We'll definitely have a huge turnaround from last season. Depending on how many wins we get, I would think that for Billy Donovan to be in consideration for coach of the year, we'd have to get anywhere between 50 to 55 wins, probably more like 52 to 55 wins. And of course, if it's more than that, and the Bulls can do it. But, like I said, considering the things the Phoenix and the Warriors are doing win-wise and streaks and everything, I just don't know, but it's definitely in the realm of possibility. And I'm not saying it's impossible at all. Your opinion, my opinion doesn't hold any more weight than yours at all. So I mean, it definitely can happen. Definitely can happen. The Warriors game will be a good test of just how far this team could go. Also, matchups with the Suns. Yeah, matchup against key playoff teams in both the East and West are definitely going to be telling for the Bulls. For sure, for sure. DeRozan going to win MVP, and we're going to make the finals. Well, hey, from your mouth to God's ears again. On my game stream, we were chatting about our top 3 players this season. I had DeMar, Levine, and then got really stuck on Lonzo Caruso and even DeSumo for third. Who would you order from top 3? Yeah, DeMar and Levine for sure. I would put Lonzo at third because I think what Lonzo has done has just been, and that's not to shit on Caruso or anything like that, but like seeing Lonzo out there and him, how he talks to the players, how he makes players better defenders by how he notices what the other team's trying to do on offense. And him seeing Lonzo switch and guard some five sometimes for little stretches there and hold his own. Definitely, I think Lonzo would be my third for sure. Lonzo showing the bag in back-to-back nights. He's really important to absolutely. He's a big part of this team's success, big key to this team success as well. Who do you think will be our X factors in the playoffs besides Caruso? I mean, really, it's going to be X factor by committee. It's going to be some games where it's DeSumo. It's going to be some games where it may be Kobe. It's going to be some games where it's Derrick Jones Jr. Really, we don't have that other than Caruso, that one bench player that you can just say, hey, they're a threat to go off every night. Because they're not as consistent scoring wise, but it's going to be X factor by committee if you're talking about anybody from the bench and not the starters, other than Caruso for sure. Tyler Cook and Alfonso McKinney, they need to stay in the rotation. Listen, they're showing that that may be the case, and especially Tyler Cook. Like I said before earlier in the stream, the fact that the Bulls need a 4, they need another big man, and the versatility and the athleticism and agileness that Tyler Cook showed in this game really opened my eyes. Now, this is one game. I don't like overreacting to one game. We'll see what he does against Toronto and stuff like that. But what both of them do, but yeah, this game definitely made me think that maybe we need to see a little bit more Tyler Cook than what we're seeing, and maybe in specific matchups and things like that. But maybe we need to see Tyler Cook called up a little bit more often. Bradley just needs to play with Stickum on his hands. Listen, that's old school. The fact that you brought up the Stickum reference, I don't even know if a lot of these young people know what Stickum is, but yeah, definitely, definitely. DeMar the Godson, that's funny as hell. That's funny as hell. Leonard Thomas with his long Leonard, I love you, but bro, come on, man. What's up? Somebody needs to take your keyboard away with all these damn emojis all the time. Our Bulls got that W. Go red and black for sure, for sure, for sure. The team played with so much energy and grit tonight. These past 2 has been a true blessing to watch opposed to last season's unit. Listen, and the thing is, this team anxious, right? Having a week off for a lot of these players, a lot of these players coming back from COVID too. I really do think that they were just been anxious. They have energy for days right now, and they played with high energy on a back-to-back. Why is Stacey King out again? I missed the guys. Oh, he's COVID. He's been in health and safety protocols. He's been in health and safety protocols. Somebody needs to correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like it's been like 20 days since he went in, because he went in the health and safety protocol when some of our earlier players went in health and safety, and they're back. Like Stacey King's been, and I know he it was said that he was having some cardiovascular some lingering things with his cardiovascular system after having COVID, and I think that's why he still isn't back yet. The Bulls have a serious, solid chance to come out of the East this year. Shout out to Brandy Nicole for sure. Pat Williams with the Bulls, second best player going into next season. Hey, from your mouth to God's ears. I think that, and this is why people who are ready to give up on Patrick Williams. The whole point, I believe, of the DeMar DeRozan signing, other than adding the things that he can, veteran leadership, scoring ability, but I believe it was to say, hey, this gives us a 3-year window to develop Patrick Williams slowly, and then hopefully by the end of DeMar's contract, whether DeMar resigns or goes, that Patrick Williams is ready to step up and take a bigger role offensively. He's already ready defensively. He's already there, right? Physically, he's ready. But if they can bring Patrick Williams' offense along over the 3 years that they have DeMar DeRozan can stay with similar to this output. Be on the lookout for what Patrick Williams ends up turning into for sure. Can't wait till Acme get us a power forward. Or P. Will comes back. Team going to be so much better. Secondly, Lonzo's assists going to go up by 4 or 5. Add more dimes and lobs for sure. Keep in mind what Patrick Williams did as a rookie, a 19-year-old rookie defensively. When you think about bringing that in, and yes, going from the 3 to the 4 is a nice change as far as the type of player that you have to defend. But having defensive players like a Patrick Williams, Alex Caruso, and Lonzo Ball, that's huge. Look at the versatility of what they can defend. We know Patrick Williams can defend. I wouldn't put him on a lot of the quicker guards, right? Because he doesn't have a lot of that lateral quickness, but he can do guards on pick and rolls. He can guard threes. We know he can guard some fours. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Patrick Williams is able to guard fives. We know what Caruso and Lonzo can do with switching and everything. That's going to be a nice defensive 1-2-3 punch, right? Everyone keeps saying when we need to be buyers. Why? We found them. Cook and Alfonso both have height and grit. Well, it's not just height and grit. Like, as good as Tyler Cook look, he still made some mistakes you expect from a young player. In the playoffs, you don't want to rely on that necessarily. You would like to have more of a veteran presence that you can depend on. So I can understand why people are still saying, and again, I'm not necessarily saying buyers, let's trade. I'm saying look at the buyout market. But again, Alfonso McKinney is showing us some things for sure. For sure. Don't forget to smash that like button to keep the winning streak going. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. I'm excited about the chemistry they have in such a short time, despite external factors. I hope it's the beginning of something great. And that's been the biggest thing, too, with some of the biggest Bulls naysayers. They're quick to judge us, right? And forget about the fact that this team, this unit, most of these players have not played 30 games together. And because of that, even as good as we've shown, as much chemistry they've shown early on, that chemistry can still be improved on. The overall way that this team plays together can still be improved on, and they can still build more as they get used to each other. So for sure, for sure. Chicago needs to see how they match up against the Suns, Bucks, and Warriors a few times to see if they can win a chip. Again, they've beat the Bucks, right? Twice, I believe. If not twice, at least once. Suns, Warriors, I definitely agree with that. We do need to see how we can match up with them. Prayers up to my boy Stacey King. God be with him and his family for sure, for sure, for sure. Brandon Peck, it's a good day to have a good day. For sure, for sure. DBD Lonzo has a great poker face and never shows his emotion. He's not like LaMelo who flexes his money like that lime suit. Lonzo is such a composed. He is, and they talked about it tonight on the game that he's the more centered one. He has his moments, right? But Lonzo usually goes in. He's very methodical about what he does, and he goes about his business. Frank, Bulls got a lot of good passes, but can't catch well. Well, specific players can't catch well on this team. That's for sure. Need that revenge against the Pacers on Sunday. We definitely need that. I need all of that. Lonzo was dropping dimes tonight for sure. And if we didn't have some missed shots, he would have had even more assists. If it was good watching Chicago Bulls game, hey, it's been a while since it felt like that for sure. I hope Pat learned a lot from DeMar's mid-range. Yeah, he needs. I mean, he's 20 years old. He's going to be learning a lot over the course of this. Alonzo keeps this up. He'll be an all-star. He's already first team all defense, no question. He's definitely all defense. We'll see if he's going to be an all-star again. It's going to be very difficult for him to do so this year. BKR Sports. Not gonna lie, I still think Kobe's on his last legs with the Bulls and games like this. Return that value we're looking for, but I won't be complaining if he keeps this form up and stays. Well, the thing is, right? If he keeps this up, I don't think they're going to trade him because again, what the Bulls need at the 4 is not going to take trading somebody who can get 14 to 15 points off the bench. Now, yes, he can be an attractive trade package if he's playing better, but I just don't think the Bulls, if it's just built around them getting a defensive rebounding 4, I don't think they're necessarily going to have to trade Kobe to get that. I think it's going to be available on the buyout market. But if they do decide and Kobe's playing better, it definitely makes him more attractive in the trade market. That's for sure. And I'm waiting until the Bulls realize they can do a Twin Towers like the Cavs. With who? Who can they do a Twin Towers with? We have a big lineup now. Well, again, this isn't going to be a permanent lineup, and let's not overrate a couple of games. Yes, Tyler Cook looked good, right? But he still did some things out there and made some mistakes. But he's Tyler Cook. I don't think even in watching this game and me saying, like, listen here, I'm saying that we need to see more of Tyler Cook. We need to see in certain matchups and everything, but I don't think Tyler Cook's ready to the point to where we can bring him up and say, hey, here goes 15 minutes every game, and we know you're not going to hurt us. I don't think it's at that point quite right now. Do you think? I mean, everything that we've read so far, that I've read, let me not say that it seems like they're targeting in March as a return time for him. That gives him some time to play, hopefully, gearing into the playoffs, and that gives him some playoff experience if he's ready. So it's possible. I don't know if it's for sure or not, but it's possible. Lonzo's always awesome, more times than not. This team is already good. If that bench can play this good in the future, this team is going to be scary for sure. For sure. Again, Nick, gotta say, I'm glad Kobe White is finding his groove. He's going to score 20 plus points off the bench for us. This team is going to look dangerous down the stretch. Getting Kobe White in rhythm and ready is going to be key to a lot of what this team can do. Or, like I said, getting in a different player who can contribute off the bench, but finding a player that can keep that pressure off and scoring off the bench. Almost every team that goes on a significant run has one of those. Hopefully, it can be Kobe White for us. We haven't. Oh man, I must have been. I'm tired. I'm tired. When do we play the Bucks? Let's see. Let's look at the schedule. We don't play the Bucks until January 21st. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for that. Our Suns only bet lost in Golden State. Yeah, we've been in every game. Well, besides the Pacers and the Rockets games, those were terrible losses as well. So yeah, Tyler Cook's not ready to start. Ricky Fontaine, Lonzo DeFonzo would be a new thing. I'm gonna be at the Bulls Pacer games on the 31st, so I definitely need a dub. Hey, you better turn the hell up. Turn the hell up. Nick Tyler, yo, Haize, how are you, bro? I'm kind of late. I don't know what I missed. What I do know is Alfonso is our bench scorer, man. We don't need another scorer. Seems the more we win, the more confident our bench gets. For sure, confidence in winning does. But let's not. Hey, Alfonso had one game of being a scorer. The first game that he played for us, he was not a scorer, or I should say last game. So let's not automatically try to crown him our bench scorer. Now he can be, right. We've seen the versatility in the way that he can score, but let's see if he can do that consistently first before we're ready to say that he's our bench scorer. Now, if he can, right, and I'm not even saying to this level, if Alfonso McKinney can get you 10 to 12 points consistently from the bench every night, then you absolutely have to keep him on this roster and you have to keep him getting minutes if that ends up being the case. But let's not be ready to say that that's the case quite yet. If you were AK and Mark, who do you see veteran wise that can help this team? So we talked about this, and I talk about this heavily. So Edwin Washington, this is my first time noticing you here in the chat. So I'm going to answer this. I don't do a lot of the trade speculation type thing, but like I pointed out, Derek Favors definitely, if he's bought out, can help us. And what he can give us. Tristan Thompson, we've talked about very heavily. There's been some talk now that maybe Harrison Barnes may be available or bought out. We'll see what happens. But there are some veterans out there that can definitely help us if they end up being bought out. Kobe White for Brendan. Not doing that. Maybe we need the big lineup against the Cavs and Pacers. That's what I'm saying. Like specifically for Tyler Cook to come up in games like against the Cavs, right? To come up, see what he can give you. Give him 5 to 8 minutes at first to see how he does. If he plays bad, put him back on the bench. But this game has definitely made me realize and think maybe we need to see more of him than what we have. What do you think the Bulls have to do to actually become a championship team with Pat turning out to be an average player? Because I think we're putting too much. No, and that's the thing. It's not putting too much on him. All Patrick Williams does not have to score at all at this point of his career for him to be an important piece on the championship team. He has to play solid defense. He has to hit open shots and take open shots when he's given them. What we saw early in the season is a hesitation to take open shots when he had them. Now, in that New York game, he was being very aggressive in taking the open shots that he was given. That's what we need to see from Patrick Williams. That's not putting too much on him. For the people who like he needs to become the next Kawhi, not saying any of that. Even if that is his potential, I'm saying right now we just need those things from Patrick Williams. A lot of what we're looking for on defense. This team would look completely different if Patrick Williams got in rhythm defensively like he did, and wasn't afraid to take open shots. So that's all it is. Do you think we can put Vooch on 4 and get a defensive 5? No, Vooch can't play the 4. I told you so, my boy Vucevic and okay, you already said that, but Shay, come on, man, give me something new. Bradley and Vooch, bro, that's who we could run a twin. No, Bradley's not ready for that. Listen, if you try to run a twin tower lineup with Bradley and Vooch, I'm telling you right now, give that 5 minutes, you'll be ready to kick Bradley in his nuts. He's not ready for that type of production, and that's fine. Originally, when he keep in mind when they signed Bradley, it was to be the backup center, right? But it was that we had two big men in Vooch and Patrick Williams that we were going to be giving most of the minutes to the 3 and the 4 at. So Bradley is not ready for that type of lineup. He's just not. He's not. It would be bad. It would be bad. Corey, the Houston defense is trash. Can't judge the 10-day guys against them. No, you can absolutely because they again our bench when we had our most of our actual bench players didn't do this good. So you can take a look at what they did. But yeah, trying to anoint them to certain things right now, that's just not smart right now. Do you think it would be as hard for Lonzo to be an all-star if we keep winning? Yes, it's not about just winning. Just flat out go back and look at when a point guard that didn't average close to 20 points per game made an all-star team. I can tell you right now, not Lonzo, Rondo may be the only one who did that. And what he averaged in steals and assists are well above what Lonzo's doing at that time. Again, that's not to say that Lonzo's skill doesn't make him an all-star. He does have the skill to be, but right now, with the way that the All Stars point guards who aren't big scorers become All Stars, Lonzo isn't hitting that, and that's because this team has so many good passers that are getting assists on it as well. Can Lonzo sustain this when we are at full strength? What's good, Haize? I mean, he can, but he probably won't. It's just not the way that the team is designed when everyone's at full strength. It's for Lonzo to score this much. Can he? Yes, absolutely. Lonzo could do anything, but again, by the way that this team is constructed, he's probably not going to score that many points. And that's fine because what Lonzo contributes isn't just in the stat line. Listen, a confident Kobe White is a dangerous man. That's for sure. That's for sure. Looking forward to the playoffs. I'm worried about big teams like the Bucks, Cavs, Sixers exploiting down low and not having an answer. I wouldn't be worried if our ball movement was more consistent. They do need to get to that ball movement consistently. That's for sure. That's for sure. Come on, Vooch and Bradley together can't make it Twin Towers. Then Alec, no, it can't. No, by that, if you're just looking at their size, sure, but no, Bradley's not ready for that. Alize's definitely not ready to contribute. If you look at like when Alize plays and gets heavy minutes, yes, he plays with a lot of energy, but it's uncontrolled, unfocused energy, and it's not good. And then Marco, not ready at all. Marco is not ready to play at the NBA level. That is why he's mainly going to be in the G League. So no, I would not like to see that because you could stunt growth. I don't want to see things just to see things that aren't going to work, and that by watching this team all the time, you know they're not going to work. Bradley is not ready for that. Alize's definitely not ready, and Marco even more so. So no, don't want to see it just to see it. Bradley and Vooch. Oh, see, exactly. Like, come on. That Bradley and Vooch out there at the same time is a recipe for fucking disaster. Most of us Bulls fans who watch every game know, like I said, 5 minutes into seeing them on the court together, we'd be ready to kill everybody. Everybody got to go. Everybody got to get stabbed. How that Christmas party go, Haize? The bottles go around. Christmas party was great. Being with family. It was just a great time. Honestly, it was one of the better this holiday seasons overall lately have been great for me. So yeah, it was sure it was great. Do you guys know what happened to AC? Mid foot sprain is what it is. Why you said that? Move Bradley to the no, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Like I guarantee you, it's not going to happen. I watch this team too much. No, it's not going to happen. So we can bet on that. Cash App will be in the bio. Well, never mind. See, fair enough. Appreciate that. Remember, Jason Kidd averaged about 16 points, and he was a 10-time All-Star. The most season average is probably about 18 points. Exactly, though. But he still had the double-digit assist. Lonzo isn't going to get that on this team, not this year's team. So no, it's not even comparable. If you're just judging off points, Jason Kidd is not. I'm sorry, Lonzo Ball, by the metrics of how point guards usually make the All Star team, is not going to hit the numbers of what usually needs to happen. It's just not. I understand people are huge Lonzo fans, and some people may hear that and not listen to what I'm actually saying. Not saying anything about the man's skill, but I'm saying that he just usually is not going to average what point guards who don't score a bunch on those other aspects, what they have to average to make the all-star team. Again, you're trying to judge too much on a player off one game. Turner's young. Turner's young. Wait, what are you talking about? Turner. Miles Turner. The Bulls have no assets to get Miles Turner. That trade is not going to happen. Come on, let's not start with this because you guys know I start going off on this. These fan trade ideas, I need you to build me a realistic trade package right now. Hakeem, your next comment needs to be a realistic trade package for what you think is a realistic trade package for Miles Turner, and I guarantee you I'll break it down. I'm always saying that Zoe, Zach, and DeMar didn't miss games on the first 25. Then the outbreak happens. Hey, shit happens, man. BKR Sports, thanks, guys. I'm going to have nightmares tonight thinking about Bradley and Vooch. Exactly, man. Like people just, wow, wow. That's crazy. I'm glad that there are people in here who see how crazy that is. People calling for Twin Towers still think that young Eddie Curry and Tyson Chandler were an all-star combination. Facts. Edwin, bro, Bradley plays way better defense-wise than Vooch. No, go back and look at defensive rating. This is why people try to judge without really looking at things. He's not bad on defense, but Vooch was 5th in defensive rating for all centers last season. He's currently 12th in all centers this season, even on a down season. Bradley plays in spurts great. But if you're looking at a player playing 25 plus minutes, Bradley is going to hurt you more than he's going to help you every time. I don't know how long it'll last having Kobe and AI such a nice thing going coming off the bench. You get the best out of both worlds. And I said this before. If let's say the Bulls don't make moves and don't move either Io or Kobe, there's still a world in which they both get plenty of minutes. Considering Billy Donovan has no issue playing multiple guards out there, 3-4 guards sometimes, and then some games, if they need scoring and Kobe shots going, he's going to play more minutes than Io. If we need more defense and Io's playing great, Io's going to get more minutes. It still can very much work. Why do you even bring Marco to the NBA in the first place? Should let him stay? No, that's not true. Because you want to get him in your gym. You want to get him in your program. You want to get him in a way that he's playing and that you can monitor something he can do every single day. And that even when he's in the G League, you call down to the G League and say, hey, we've been watching this with Marco. I want you to have Marco shoot more threes in the next couple of games. So no, you don't just leave him overseas. By developing a player, you want to have him in your organization to develop him. So it made sense for them to bring him over. No, you still don't. That's not good basketball. That's not good basketball. This is not the 90s or 2000s anymore. That twin tower shit don't work anymore because of floor spacing. Only way that works is if you have mobile bigs. Stop trying to think like Cleveland. And even Cleveland's big situation is so unique. They play Laurie at the 3 sometimes, right? I haven't seen the minutes breakdown, but they play Laurie at the 3. You're not playing Tony Bradley at the 3. You don't even want to play Vooch at the 4 with mobile bigs. It's just not. It's not going to happen. Bring Bradley and Vooch on the floor at the same time is a good way to lose your job. Absolutely. Like I'm glad we have some smart basketball minds in here. Quadruple X is Cook and Bradley. I like Cook, but he's still not ready. I think Edwin is white. Let's go with Bradley at the 4, Vooch at the 5, Tyler Cook at the 3, Derek Jones at the 2, and Simonovic at the 1. Yep. If that's what we're trying to get Billy Donovan fired, for sure. We need to keep McKinney in the rotation. That I agree with so far. Just to see. It's been one game of him playing solid on offense. He played solid last night, but his shot wasn't falling. We need to see the average of that. Kobe can score a lot when he's back right. Absolutely, Kobe can. Seeing how this team is holding up without Zach has me even more excited to get him back. He'll be looking to dominate. Listen, this can't do nothing but help for the long run. Is having players, and this is what I've said before. This is before we lost half our team to health and safety, but having players play in unexpected minutes and having them step up, it shows you more what you have on the end of your bench. We know rotations shrink in the playoffs, and that's fine. But at least now you're giving more of a look at those players. And as long as the regular season is going, you feel more comfortable giving those players minutes. So for sure. What do you think Lonzo's role becomes when Levine is back? Because love the way he's playing right now. I mean, his role is going to be what it has been. It's going to be being the coach out there on the floor, hitting open shots when he gets it, running in transition a lot, being the stabilizer sometimes out there when he's out there with some of the bench guys. Lonzo's role is Lonzo's role. It's just he has more shots available, of course, when you have Zach LaVine not playing the game, but his role is pretty much the same. In today's NBA, would Twin Towers even be what you want? The only way the Twin Towers thing works in today's NBA is if you have mobile big men who also shoot the three, can put the ball on the floor, and who can pass. Those things do not apply to Tony Bradley. So bro, I'm gonna have to stop going to your comments because your basketball sense right now is not hitting, bro. I never said that he was the best, but he plays better defense in the paint. Check the game. No, I watch every single minute of every Bulls game. He's not as good. Like he in spurts, yes, in spurts, but trying to rely on him, no, he's not that good. He's not that good at all. He's not. He's not. Zach Levine for Valentine. That's something that some people would say for sure. This is why I'm pushing so hard. Here goes Shay with his GMing of the Bulls. This is why I'm pushing so hard for the Bulls to get Harrison Barnes over here so he can play power forward spot because he can help. I mean, Harrison Barnes will be a really good person on this team. Really good person on this team. Poindexter. The biggest problem with the Twin Towers business for this team is that this team is a team that runs. Why neutralize that with Zach, AC, Lonzo, do their best stuffing the floor with bigs? It's just dumb. Period. Period. That's really it. That's all it should say. Zach and DeMar should be. They absolutely should, and I would expect them to be right now. Ricky Fontaine with Poindexter preach. Absolutely, absolutely. Where the Bulls rank defensively? I think they're top 5 defensively. Hold on, give me a second. I can look it up specifically. I know last I checked, they were top 5 defensively. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Well, the Bulls have fallen. Their defensive rating right now is 11th. They are 11th in defensive rating in the advanced metrics right now, and they are 6th in the offensive metrics right now. So they basically flip-flopped offensive and defensively over the last few games. We know why, because of everything that's been going on with the Bulls and them not having the full roster the last few games and everything like that. But still top half of the league defensively, even with all the adversity they face, and that's big. Yeah, no, Bradley ain't it. I was generally shocked when he knocked down that mid range. Hey, shout out to him for even going to it. But yeah, I was shocked that he hit it too, for sure. If Acme is able to work their magic and get Ben Simmons through a low, what? No, they're not getting, like, even contract wise, there is no low ball. People need to stop thinking because players are available that these teams are just, there's no low ball offer for a player that makes what $30 million a year. There's no low ball offer. You have to at least match that salary. To match that, the Bulls would have to give either Vooch, DeMar, Lonzo, or Levine have to be included in the deal at that point just to even get in the door of matching salary. That's not happening. It's not happening. Yeah, Shay, you push hard to get Harrison Barnes. I know it. Haize knows it, and the whole chat knows it. You don't need to be the difference, brother. Y'all, hey, we're family. I know we give shit to each other. I'm not even getting to the Bears because that's the person. Ben Simmons through 3. No, it's not happening. It's not happening. It's, again, I'm gonna give you what I gave the other guy. Give me a realistic trade in which the Bulls get Ben Simmons. Give me a realistic one because it's not one. You won't do it, and I want to see none of that trade machine bullshit. You're not gonna do it. Do you think Lonzo has a chance of being quarterback one with the Bears? At this point, anybody can play for the Bears. Anybody can play for the Bears. And there goes my dog. How you feel about the Cavs being ranked above us in the power rankings? I mean, the power rankings is just that. They're a ranking of trends and things like that. And for the stretch there, especially considering when the Bulls are playing bad because of like COVID and everything, it kind of makes sense for them to go above us in the power rankings. That'll even back out as we get healthy for sure. So my question to those against the Twin Towers is, what do we do when the teams, bigger teams that have their own Twin Towers? I watch every game too, and we struggle against size. Even if you look at the teams against size, like look at what Jokic averaged against us. Like, yes, They score a lot of points, but look at the efficiency of that. We have forced big men to not be as efficient as what they have. Don't just look at the points numbers. Look at how they get those points. Look at how many shots it takes to get those points. At the end of the day, we all know that we need a four, but a twin tower lineup with Bradley and Vooch is not the answer. That's just not the answer. That's not a smart. That's not smart basketball. It's not winning basketball. It's not quality basketball, and it's definitely not going to do anything to fix the problem we have regarding big men. It's just not. Period. It's just not going to do it. I'm not pushing for Harris. I'm just pushing for Harris Barnes. But really, if you think about it, I just want to get a power forward who can knock down an open shot and play versatile defense. That's what we need. That's what we need. The only thing the Twin Towers with Bradley would do is bring out Petty Roosevelt. This is going to be a Petty Roosevelt free stream. I think. I think it's going to be a Petty Roosevelt free stream. I'm only going to go for about 5 or 6 more minutes. We're almost at the hour mark. So that's when I'm going to leave. I don't like how Vooch kind of was getting bitched in the paint, but no, let's be clear. He had his moments, right? And we know that Vooch isn't the best one-on-one defender. That's always going to be something that's a hole for him. But Vooch was not getting bitched around in the paint at all. He was doing the best in his ability for sure. And he was going to the body sometimes in some of those possessions. Vooch was not at all getting bitched in the paint tonight. No, when I hear bitched in the paint, I think getting back down repeatedly, and that just did not happen repeatedly in this game. Vooch was putting his body on people. He was getting his hands up. He was moving and rotating very well for the largest part of this game. That's it. We're not going to go get no meaningful trades. Our best bet is to buy out plays and pick up. However, I like a trade with Whiteside included. I mean, and that's ultimately what it boils down to. The Bulls do not have the assets to trade. They just don't. They're not, regardless if we think they should, regardless. I'm not even saying that I think we necessarily shouldn't. This front office is not trading Patrick Williams. It's just not. They're not trading Patrick Williams at this point. Anybody who thinks that AK and Eversley will be open to trading Patrick Williams just has not paid close attention to how they talk about Patrick Williams. They're not trading Patrick Williams right now. That almost does not get you in the door or anything. Kobe, though he had a good game, his trade value, he would have to play like this from now until the trade deadline for his trade value to get to anything meaningful. Now, if that's being said, what other assets? Sabonis, Turner, Christian Wood, all can get high picks. They can get high picks for. In the case of Sabonis and Turner, they can possibly get multiple first-round picks. The Bulls don't have any first-round picks of note to trade. The only one that we have is Portland, which is lottery protected. So then at that point, that becomes a non-lottery first-round pick. That's not a big asset for teams trading those players. So again, everybody relying on this trade talk, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Who do you think is better, DeMar or Zach? I mean, they're 1A, 1B. That's it. I like the Shannon Bro by Rufus if you're biased and a few people on here, but it is what it is. Great commentary is bias. Bias means let's define bias, right? Bias means that you're just against something to be against it. Saying that something that you're saying is not realistic is not bias. That's called an evaluation. Tony Bradley and Vooch as a Twin Towers lineup is not effective basketball. That's not a bias. That's just truth. That's just truth. That's not effective. That's why they don't play them on the court together. Again, if it was that easy, do you not think Billy Donovan would have gone to that lineup? He doesn't go to it for a reason, because it doesn't. Also, it completely limits ball movement. Tony Bradley is a terrible decision maker and passer. That's one of the things, as many have pointed out, that make this team offensively so good. That, again, no, that's not a bias. That's just a fact that it's not going to work. It's not a bias. What Cat did to Anthony Davis was getting bitch in the paint, for sure. For sure. Listen, I hear one more Ben Simmons trade talk. Bring out Mr. Roosevelt. Yeah, man, that's just crazy. I love Bulls fans, but we be tripping. Nikola Vucevic down because even more nasty. Vucevic dunking on Julius Randle or dunking on LeBron James last night. What? I'm sorry, Shay. I'm not sure what you mean by that, bro. I put a 3-team trade in the trade machine. Denzel Valentine and Kobe White for Steph Curry. Okay. All right, inside Chicago Bulls. I see you. Why are we still talking about trades? Listen, I can't wait till the trade deadline's over. Really, I cannot wait till the trade deadline is over, man. Edwin Washington, having an opinion is fine, my dude, but that doesn't mean the opinion isn't ridiculous and other people's opinion. Just sit back and enjoy, man. Don't sweat it. Trading Patrick Williams would be terrible for us, and his stock is exactly like people who think that just don't pay attention. I think when the question presented itself, that was the thought of went the stretch when no one said further stretch. What? Marco and Vooch would be a better twin tower. Marco ain't ready yet. Period. Period. That's it. It's gonna be very hard for us to get a third. It's gonna be very hard for us to get a third all-star this year, I think. Now, again, we'll see. Where do things have happened, but we'll see. It's crazy that we see Zach and DeMar on the same level when Zach is 6 years younger. It shows how scary Zach is going to be. Zach, listen, can still add very much to this game. Absolutely can be very, very scary for Zach Levine. Also, can Lonzo and Caruso make all? They definitely can. Now, not all the defensive first team, but we have three all defensive teams. They can definitely both get on some of those between those three. Really hoping for a deep playoff run. Shout out, hey, so are we. So are we. Sorry to bring this over here, but I hate the Bears. I meant to say which Vucevic posteration was better, the one on LeBron last night or Julius Randle for sure. Julius Randle. Julius Randle. What happened to Caruso? Well, he has a foot injury, and as somebody pointed out, it could take 4 to 6 weeks. Now that hasn't been reported as far as I know, but just keep on the lookout for that. Oh, is it only two defensive teams? Well, there you go. Really, people are just excited that the Bulls will be buyers at the trade deadline. I'm all for standing pat unless something miraculous comes up. Again, and that's the thing. People have to realize that as much as a organization, we have been talking about how good a job AK and Eversley has done. That means trusting them, right? That means that if they believe in Patrick Williams, which they do, it's for a reason. So you can't want to trust them and talk about how good of a job and how great they are at their jobs, but then be against why they believe in a player like this. Not every GM gets everything right, but there's a reason why they believe in Patrick Williams. Do you think McKinney is better than Troy Brown? And what's been shown so far, yeah. I mean, but again, it's a very players can look good in 2 or even 3 or sometimes 4 or 5 game stretches. We need to see more from McKinney. I'm not ready to crown anything or give him anything based off a solid game last night and a really, really good game tonight. I'm not ready to say those things exactly quite yet. After the last couple years, man, I just need playoffs rather than a deep run. Like, give me that playoff run. But truly, I'm just happy we're not losing by 15, 20 on regular anymore. Absolutely. Bulls in just about every game they played this game, except the Warriors and except, some games they shouldn't have lost for sure. But it is what it is, man. It happens. It happens, unfortunately. I believe in P. Will. We don't need a trade. We need a buyout and a healthy pat. If Kobe and McKinney can keep up games like this, we don't need anything other than healthy Pat. That's just me though. And keep in mind, Derrick Jones Jr. is coming around as a scorer too. And if he's on the bench, right? I've been saying I want to see him start, but let's say Derrick Jones Jr. stay off the bench, and let's say McKinney is that he can give us, like I said, it doesn't have to be this, but let's say McKinney can just for shits and giggles, can give us a consistent 9 to 11 points off the bench. Let's say Kobe also gives us a solid 12 to 14 off the bench. Those three players, scoring wise, give us enough off the bench. When you add in how good Derrick Jones Jr. is on defense at times, when you add in how active and good McKinney is looked on defense, and then Kobe as well being more active and improved defender, still not a great defender, but improved defender, those can be three key bench guys. Add into that also, of course, Alex Caruso, and we know what he gives us, and Io DeSumo. We have a solid bench in that case. Really need to take a look at it and see what happens. Corey Barnes. I don't know how to feel about McKinney yet. Most of his shots were wide open tonight. They were just baiting him. Exactly. And we got to keep in mind too that there hasn't been a lot of tape on McKinney on this team. So it could be very possible that the Rockets just weren't sure how the Bulls were going to use McKinney, which got him a lot of open shots. Let's see how it continues to go and if it happens. If he continues to play this good. If he continues to play this good. I still got PTSD since the Bulls was last relevant since 2011-12. I just want the Bulls to be champs. This year is just different. Bulls should just see what they got and acquire by power forward and go from there. Completely agree with you there. Really agree from you. BKR Sports, the funniest part of fan trade idea is that they're always getting rid of a player they don't think is good enough for their team. So why would the other exact? It's so funny. I was involved in a conversation on Twitter today about trade talk. I can't remember the page, and he was like, "Oh, well, the Bulls can get Turner easily by trading Kobe White in a first round pick." And then I pointed out, I was like, "Well, they can easily get a lottery pick. And he was like, yeah, the Blazers aren't going to make the playoffs. So it's going to be a lottery pick. I'm like, yeah, but if they don't make the playoffs, they get to keep their pick. And it's like people really don't like get off the trade machine. Really take a look and evaluate this team. Most of the trade ideas that fans make really are all one-sided, and they don't take into consideration anything other than, oh, this trade numbers work right, and don't take anything else into consideration. It really doesn't work that way. Don't forget about Tyler Cook. He played really well. Well, I talked about him. I think I talked about him a lot at the beginning of the stream and talked about how versatile he was, how quick he was. I didn't expect a player of his size to be that quick. I talked about all that at the beginning of this stream. I don't expect you to rewind it, but yeah, Tyler Cook definitely impressed me and definitely, at least to me, showed that we need to see him more. I'm not necessarily saying he needs to stay on the actual roster for the rest of the season, but we definitely need to see more from him for sure. Steve-O, very reactive and overreacting. Just our GM and president. They got us here. Trust our GM. I think is what's literally one off season. Let them work. Exactly. Let them cook. Let them cook. And that's what we're going to end the stream on tonight. Thank you guys so much. I know I usually go about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Again, we'll have a stream after the next game, halftime hangout as well. So be on the lookout for those things. But yeah, that's it for me tonight, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining, man. I can't say how much I appreciate you guys enough, and just the growth and everything of this channel. You guys have been amazing to me since I started this. This is why I do lives. You guys call for this. This is why I do it. I appreciate you guys so much, man. Make sure you're following, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You can follow us on every social media platform. It's Bull Central Pod on every social media platform. You can also send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns at bullcentralpod@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave us a text or voicemail that I will play on the show, that number for that is 773-270-2799. But that's it. Like I like to end everything that I do. Go Bulls. I love you guys. Peace.